Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Big Ten Under 10 on the Hoosier Network. I'm Adam Oppenheim with Graham Nash, and today is sadly our last Big Ten Under 10 of the spring. Today we're going to start with softball before moving to golf and tennis. Here are the scores. We will start with a team that is now ranked in the top 5, fifth-ranked Oregon. They have still yet to lose a Big Ten series after sweeping Indiana in Bloomington. For number 8, UCLA, they beat Michigan twice in Ann Arbor, with Sunday's game ending in 8 innings after a go-ahead RBI single by Alexis Ramirez. 21st ranked Nebraska took 2 out of 3 from Washington on the road, although Saturday's game ending surprisingly in the Huskies' favor, 10-2 in 5 innings. Lastly, the 22nd ranked Ohio State Buckeyes have now won 9 straight games after sweeping Purdue at Buckeye Field over the weekend. Graham, we're going to turn to you. Oregon-Indiana series wasn't close for 2 games, but what did you make of the third game that Indiana tried to make a comeback?
It was a close third game. I mean, Oregon is just such a good team. They're so talented top to bottom. They've got one of the best ERAs I think they have the best ERA in the Big Ten, actually, and have the second best batting average. So they just put together such good games, and they're so hard to beat. The Hoosiers, it's so interesting because they're so close to being a really competitive team, but it seems like they just can't get use an Indiana term. They can't get over the hump. They can't do it. They're close. They can't do it. I do think they have a good chance to make a late run here. They're 11th in the Big Ten. The top 12 teams make it. They're tied for 11, actually. They're tied for 11th with Purdue. Can't write a better storyline. Indiana, they are the best hitting team in the conference, 380 average, which is insane. Purdue is one of the better pitching teams in the conference. I don't have their number. I didn't write it down. That's poor on me. I apologize. But Indiana is the 5th worst pitching team in the conference. So we've got like a light versus dark, batting versus pitching matchup coming up here. I think it's going to be a phenomenal series. It comes down to the arms. Can Bree Copeland for Indiana carry the team like she has tried to this entire season into the tournament? Can the bats show up for Purdue? I think it's going to be fun.
I think the difference between this series coming up for IU, Purdue, and Indiana, Oregon is Oregon could also hit the ball along with pitch. So that's the main difference. So we have talked a ton about Oregon and UCLA, especially over the past month. I mean, they're the top 2 teams in the Big Ten. There's no other way to sugarcoat it. But is there any other Big Ten team that you think could make a run?
I think Nebraska could be a sneaky team. We've got a 3-way tie right now for 3rd in the Big Ten standings. It's Nebraska, Northwestern, and Ohio State. If you look at who those 3 teams have played, Nebraska is the only team that has played the other 2. The other 2 teams, Northwestern and Ohio State, have only played one of the 2 other teams. Nebraska, they swept Northwestern, and then they took 1 out of 3 from Ohio State. Well, Ohio State, the only other really good team they've played in the Big Ten is UCLA, and they got killed. So, based on our smaller sample size, I feel like Nebraska is the strongest. They have a good team. They've got a solid team. It comes down to can they win the close games. It's what we've talked about all year. I'm sure it's going to be what people talk about come tournament time.
I mean, you mentioned Ohio State last week, and you were just not a fan of their strength of schedule. So I figured you wouldn't pick the Buckeyes, so you go with the Cornhuskers. Last question for you, Graham. Oregon and UCLA. They've been top 2 all year long. Pitching and hitting is phenomenal. But why are they so tough to beat for these traditional Big Ten teams?
They're such complete teams. There's no holes. We talked about it with Oregon. They have the best team ERA in the country, 2nd best average. UCLA, 2nd best ERA in the country, 5th best average. So first of all, statistic-wise, they're very clean and very good teams. But you look at the schedule, you look to see what these teams have done. Oregon is 15-2 in 2-run games. Every close game, they've pretty much won. And they've had a lot. 17 games decided by 2 or fewer runs.
That's crazy.
That's ridiculous. UCLA is a little bit different. They are 8-5 in 2-run games, so haven't been quite as clean, quite as sharp. They're just good at blowing teams out. They're good at putting up more runs on the scoreboard than you can, and they can do it in the blink of an eye. They're so good at putting up crooked numbers, and they're by far the teams to beat in my mind right now.
Well, it's exciting to see what's going to happen between Oregon and UCLA, and will there be a 3rd or 4th Big Ten team make a run in the NCAA tournament?
Nebraska.
We'll have to wait.
Nebraska.
Graham Nash says Nebraska. So we're going to move on to talk about women's golf, and we don't have scores for you because the Big Ten Championship happened around 10 days ago. That means we're not going to have any scores from golf today. But the NCAA regionals start on May 5th and go to May 7th. As for the NCAA championships for women's golf, it will be from May 16th to May 21st. So let's turn to the court to talk about some tennis scores. So we're going to wrap up today's show, running you through some tennis scores from the Big Ten tournament this past weekend. Let's start in the quarterfinals. It was third-ranked Michigan over unranked Maryland, 16th-ranked UCLA over number 23 Wisconsin, 9th-ranked Ohio State beat Illinois, and number 18 Washington beat 17th-ranked USC. As for the semifinals, it was Michigan over UCLA 4-1, and Ohio State over Washington, also 4-1. And lastly, that means two rivals faced off. Michigan, the 1 seed in the tournament, and number 2 Ohio State. It came down to the final match, where Neo Nashini of Ohio State won in 3 sets to give Ohio State the win over Michigan 4-3, and they are the Big Ten tournament champions. And that wraps up Big Ten Under 10 for this school year. Thank you so much for tuning in. We are, however, going to have a special compilation coming out sometime soon with the best moments from the first season. And lastly, of course, one more big thanks to our producer, Colin Dusek. This show would not have been possible without him.
Thank you guys so much. All the help, all the love, all the viewers. Love it, man. Great experience. It was a pleasure getting able to do it.
Well, we certainly do appreciate you.
Thank you, Colin.
Golf clap.
Thank you, Colin.
Well, Graham, you're going to be back with a new partner in the fall, but once again, for our producer, Colin Dusek, Graham Nash, I'm Adam Oppenheim, saying thank you once again for all the support on Big Ten Under 10. Be sure to subscribe and follow us on Twitter and Instagram at B1G_under10. And come back in the fall for our next episode of Big Ten Under 10.